Today is March 12th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today at the Big Book, we are on Chapter 5, How It Works. We'll be reading page 59. At the 12 and 12, we're on Step 8. We'll read page 81. And of course, we'll read the 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So with that, hope y'all are doing well this morning, my friends. Life is good over here. Woke up sober today. Just got on my knees and just thanked my higher power for another day of waking up, first of all. That's a miracle in itself. And to be sober. Not be shaking and needing a drink or obsessing over a drink. I'll take it. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So, if you recall from yesterday's reading out of the Big Book, we are in the nuts and bolts of it right now. How It Works, Chapter 5. And yesterday, it was so weird for me because, I'm so used to reading the, 58 through 60, right? And all the meetings that I go to, usually they read the entire thing. But it was kind of neat to just slow down and just read the first part before we even get to the steps themselves. And one thing I noticed instantly yesterday was they talk about honesty a lot. Being honest, being earnest, being thorough. It also talks about letting go of old ideas. Some of us try to hold on to our old ideas and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. And then just being willing. Again, being thorough in doing this. So now we're going to get to these steps. 12 suggestions, simple spiritual kit of tools here. So we'll read page 59 and part of 60 today. Page 59. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we'd harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Many of us exclaim, "What an order! I can't go through with it." Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We're not saints. The point is that we're willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we've set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter to the agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A. That we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B. That probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C. That God could and would if He were sought. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 8. Made a list of all persons we'd harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. And yesterday we talked about harm and what that looks like, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual damage that we've done to people. And sometimes if our tempers are consistently bad, we arouse anger in others. So we are going to follow up on that thought on page 81. Such gross misbehavior is not by any means a full catalog of the harms we do. Let us think of the subtler ones, which can sometimes be quite as damaging. Suppose that in our family lives we happen to be miserly, irresponsible, callous, or cold. Suppose that we are irritable, critical, impatient, and humorless. Suppose we lavish attention upon one member of the family and neglect the others. What happens when we try to dominate the whole family, either by a rule of iron or by a constant outpouring of minute directions for just how their lives should be lived from hour to hour? What happens when we wallow in depression, self-pity oozing from every pore, and inflict that upon those about us? Such a roster of harms done others, the kind that make daily living with us practicing alcoholics difficult and often unbearable, could be extended almost indefinitely. When we take such personality traits as these in a shop, office, and society of our fellows, they could do damage almost as extensive as that we have caused at home. Having carefully surveyed this whole area of human relations, and having decided exactly what personality traits in us injured and disturbed others, we can now commence to ransack memory for the people to whom we've given offense. To put a finger on the nearby and most deeply damaged ones shouldn't be hard to do. Then, as year by year we walk back through our lives as far as memory will reach, we shall be bound to construct a long list of people who have, to some extent or another, been affected. We should, of course, ponder and weigh each instance carefully. We shall want to hold ourselves to the course of admitting the things that we have done, meanwhile forgiving the wrongs done to us, real or fancied. "24 hours a day, March 12th. AA thought for the day. The prodigal son took this journey. The prodigal son took his journey into a far country and wasted his substance with riotous living. That's what we alcoholics do. We waste our substance with riotous living. When he came to himself, he said, 'I will arise and go to my Father.' That's what you do in AA. You come to yourself. Your alcoholic self is not your real self. Your sane, sober, respectable self is your real self. That's why we alcoholics are so happy in AA. Have I come to myself? Meditation for the day. Simplicity is the keynote of a good life. Choose the simple things always. Life can become complicated if you let it be so. You can be swamped by difficulties if you let them take up too much of your time. Every difficulty can be either solved or ignored and something better substituted for it. Love the humble things of life. Revere the simple things. Your standard must never be the world standard of wealth and power. Prayer for the day. I pray I may love the simple things of life. I pray that I may keep my life uncomplicated and free. Daily Reflection, March 12th. A Day's Plan. On awakening, let us consider about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 86. Every day I ask God to kindle within me the fire of His love, so that love, burning bright and clear, will illuminate my thinking and permit me to better do His will. Throughout the day, as I allow outside circumstances to dampen my spirits, I ask God to sear my consciousness with the awareness that I can start my day over at any time I choose, 100 times if necessary. All right, my friends, man, today is a hard one. There are so many good readings today, so I'm going to make this as quick as possible. Out of the big book real quick. So we got to the steps. Don't worry. We are going to slow down and break these down a little bit all throughout the chapter, which I love. Of course, the only step that the big books made clear, and I think it was the big book and the 12 and 12 made clear, is the only one we can get absolutely right, perfectly right, is step 1. Admitting we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. That is the foundation step, right? All the others, on the other hand, these are perfect ideals that we can strive toward. And 60 kind of clarifies that. Many exclaimed, "What an order, I can't go through with it." Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain, here it is, anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We're not saints. The point is, and I always love that because in my meeting, when we say we're not saints, somebody will go, "What's the point?" So the point is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, that was more about alcoholism. The chapter of the agnostic, that was chapter 4. And our personal adventures, that's talking about, Bill's story and the personal stories at the end. Before and after, make clear 3 pertinent ideas, 3 main ideas here. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. That's step 1. And B, probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. That's part of step 2. And C, that God could and would if he were sought. And that's the second part of step 2 right there. So in those little parts, A, B, and C, we're getting step 1 and step 2. And then tomorrow, we will be talking about step 3. And that's the decision part, right? Of turning our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand him. And the step 3 prayer is one of my absolute favorite prayers. I cannot wait to talk about that tomorrow. So what that says to me is that this is all about progress. So for you perfectionists out there, this is going to be a challenge to be okay with making progress. But for me, it's very comforting because I did want to be fearless and thorough because I was desperate, the gift of desperation, right? But I had to be careful because I can have paralysis by analysis going, did I do step 2 perfectly right? Am I sure? I still have some doubts. Am I sure? Maybe I shouldn't even move on to step 3 until I know for sure that I did step 2 perfectly. That wasn't good for me. So I had to just keep going and try my best, but at the same time, be content with progress. And now, a few 24 hours later, still being content with that progress. Certain things have been easier to let go of. Like I don't obsess over alcohol anymore. Thank God for that. What a miracle. But at the same time, I still have pride. I can still catch myself. If somebody pats me on the back, man, that is the best feeling in the world. I wonder if I can feel that again. I gotta watch that. I can still be lustful. So I put certain boundaries into place to make sure that I don't do something stupid, but it's still there. These instincts that the 12 and 12 talks about, they're still there, but there's been progress made in every area, some faster, some slower, but there has been progress made. And thank God. I love that follow-up of the steps where they clarify that. And then real quick, I love the daily reflection talking about starting the day over at any time to kindle that fire within me, the fire of his love, so that love, burning bright and clear, will illuminate my thinking, permit me to better do his will. Throughout my day, as I allow circumstances to dampen my spirits, which it happens, I face a lot of disrespect throughout the day. And if I'm not spiritually practicing these principles, I can let those circumstances run the show. But when I do practice these principles, and I am reminded that God is in control and I'm not, I can ask God to steer my consciousness with the awareness that I can start my day over any time I choose. And I love this, 100 times if necessary. If anyone else is like me, one negative thing happens, it ruins the whole day, right? That was me. But now when one negative thing happens, I go, okay, what can I learn from this? Let me take a break for a second. God, please forgive me if I responded in a poor way, and give me the ability to do the next right thing. And then boom, right back on the horse. And then at the end of the day, when I do an inventory, I look at the positive things that happened. Yeah, there were some negative, but what were some good things that happened? And what good things could we learn from those negative things? And just get right back at it. And finally, the simple things. In 24 hours, the simple things. Dwelling on the simple things instead of looking for fame and recognition all the time and the pressure of trying to move up the corporate ladder or whatever it might be that we wrestle with. When I slow down and I look around, I take an inventory of what's right in front of me. The simple things, right? I'm going to do that right now. Okay, I have a picture of my wife. This was, I guess she was probably a sophomore in high school here. And it's one of the first pictures I ever had of her. This is what I remember her looking like when I first met her. And she had this beautiful hair, beautiful smile. And I've kept that picture with me forever. One more real quick. I was thinking about my daughter yesterday. She loves to call it the Lyra Show. That's my daughter's name. And while we were in between periods, I was watching the women's hockey Team USA play Finland. And go Team USA, by the way. I'm sorry for those listening around the world. But when I was watching the women's hockey game, in between periods, she was doing her own little show. And she'd do a little concert for us in the living room. These are the little things for me that make life so stinking great. I'll leave with this. A friend of mine would always challenge me to stop and look around. Literally look around the room, or if you're outside, look around at something. Do a 360. And then he said, try to find one thing that you see that you're grateful for. I challenge you all to do the same thing today. That's my homework as well. I'm going to try to do that throughout the day. But my friends, as always, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, any other sect. I am just a joyful drunk, honored to be here in this lifeboat of recovery. And I hope you know that if you're sober, you're a miracle. And those who love you are very proud of you. And you're giving a great gift to everybody around you. And you have that unique superpower to help the next suffering alcoholic. So I pray that today, you'll be a blessing to others. And if you're not sober today, I want you to know, I cannot stress this enough, that you are a miracle as well. That you are worthy of recovery. And I just pray that you would make the first step toward change today, and you don't have to do it alone. We've got your back. But my friends, if we are given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.